Hello, book readers, and this is the B-Side Book Reviews. And today we are going to look at the book The Bear by R.A. Salvatore. However he pronounces his name. So, are you ready for a little sword action? Or fantasy or anything like that? Well, I am. I've got my Royal Gorge shirt on. I got in Colorado. My Lance Burton Master Magician I got in Vegas. Little magic, a little cool nature, and I dropped my book. Fantasy. A little fantasy sword action here. But if you're really not into those things, watch this anyway and just count all the words I mispronounce. Yes, fun for the entire family. Family fun. The war of hunts drags on, and the roads and the seas are littered with bodies and... Okay, I'm pretty much quoting this word for word from the book's cover. So, what was this book all about? Alright, give me a minute here. I got pretty lost in all of the muddle of this story, but as far as I can tell, there's a war going on between some dude named King Yeslink and some chick named Dwayne Guadwire, I think. Guadwire? Starts with a G. Yes! This is a book of war, folks, with lots of names of generals, kings, monks, and something called lairds. And yeah, it gets confusing as all gosh darn heck. Of course, this is the fourth book in a series of books, which I didn't realize until I was, I don't know, maybe about halfway through the book. So, I just figured that our author here, R.A. Salvatore, probably just assumed that I knew who all of these characters were and what they were fighting about and how to pronounce their names. Well, I didn't. However, I trudged on through this book like wading through a murky swamp. Trudged on. Now there's this dude named Branson, who also goes by the Highwayman. And at times he is called, well, the Stork. Now, if there was any meaning to this name, well, it was totally lost on me. Although I have my doubts if such a name worked for him when trying to pick up women. Hey there, baby. I'm Stork. No. Probably not. Anyway, apparently he holds on to these gems, and they give him superpowers to leap around like Spider-Man. Yes, gems in this story just aren't for jewelry. I'm guessing anyway. No, gems are dangerous and powerful weapons. So, every good, strong warrior better keep a firm grasp onto his jewels. Or maybe he turns into a stork. Or something like that. Don't really have a clue. Oh yeah, back to Branson. Apparently he's this pretty kick-ass warrior, but he's had enough of war and has now adopted the can't we just get along theory. At least he feels this way until he meets up with his pregnant wife, who bitch slaps him upside the head a couple of times and convinces him that he needs to man up and jump back into the thick of things. What side, though? Yeah, what side? I'm not really sure. I do remember some callous old broad had a sword and some jewel he wanted. And our stork was bound and determined to get them both back. And I guess he did. Maybe. I was probably daydreaming about the Tom Petty concert I had just gone to when I read over that part. Yeah, probably was. Oh, baby, don't it feel like heaven right now? Then there's Lord Banagran, the bear, who I'm guessing this book is named after. The bear? Anyone? Yes? No? Oh, who really cares? Anyway, he's this big tough dude who wields this battle axe around in war and takes out anyone within a 20-foot radius. Well, in the end, King Yeslink, whatever his name is, well, his army gets pounded into submission, and he gets pissed off at his fat ass nagging wife and gouges her to death with a hat pin, and then he falls down a flight of stairs. Yeah, I reckon he was having a bad day. And as for the stork, well, he gets all charged up on some magic gemstones and takes out an enemy leader while taking himself out as well. As for the bear, Lord Benegron, he marries some chick named Gwydir. Starts with a G. Anyway, he becomes king. Fair. That's the story. I think. Yeah. The Tom Petty concert was really kind of on my mind and way cooler than this book. Way cooler. Love you, Tom. Rest in peace, buddy. Now, when I bought this book, I was all stoked about reading it. The hot chick with the sword here on the cover was enough to strike my interest. Now, the book started out okay with Branson, Highwayman, Stork, or whatever the heck his name is, was drifting through the war-torn countryside. Okay, cool beginning. I thought I was on board for some kick-ass story. Then, of course, I got totally lost when it dove into the ongoing story. Well, little did I know it was an ongoing story. So, I was trying to pick up the pieces from this laird and that monk and some angry chick with Branson's sword and... oh, Benegran was Branson's enemy and now he's not, and V equals RW 9 times pi over resistance equals voltage over current, and oh crap! Oh, give me an Advil! One part worth mentioning, though, was the impaling of the dwarfs. Yeah, how's that for an opening scene? Now, I forget who did this, nor do I really care, but in the beginning of the book, one of the pissed off leaders pulled out some dwarves that they had caught from the last dwarf invasion and decided to give them an enema with an impaling stake. Apparently, they were under the impression that such would serve as a warning for all other invading dwarfs. Yeah, got to keep out an eye for all those dwarf invasions. Now, there's an image Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings wouldn't have dared try to pull off. Whoa, impaling the little people. Not too politically correct here. Oh, by the way, I got Ohm's theory wrong. It is not what I said. It is current equals voltage over resistance. I may know nothing about this book, but I darn sure want to have my math right. That's important. Okay, the hardest part of this darn book was keeping up with all the freaking characters. Reading this book made me start to wonder if I put too many characters in my own stories. Well, at least I tried to use normal names. Yes, I had a tough time knowing if Olym, O-L-Y-M, was a man or a woman, or was Wydir a chick or a dude. Why couldn't our author just name his characters Joe, Bob, George, Susie, Marianne, Ginger? Maybe these names aren't quite so dynamic, but they're so much easier to follow. And as mentioned earlier, this book was number 4 in a series. A series of, I'm guessing, 4 books? Or at least 4 books. This was, of course, something that I was completely unaware of when I bought this book. Would it be so freaking hard to put a 4 somewhere on the cover? I mean, you can put it on this dude with the axe, or the New York Times best-selling author. You can take that off. Put a 4 there. Just don't cover up the girl with the sword. That's why I bought the book. Don't cover her. I guess the characters were okay. There were just so many of them to keep up with. And by the way, what the heck is a laird? Okay, now according to the intranet, a laird is a member of Scottish gentry. Whatever that is. Or it's a company that manufactures plastic sheets, rods, and tubes. Okay, now my money is probably going to be on the Scottish thing. By the way, the 2 names of Bronson and Banagran look far too similar as I skimmed through this book. I was always getting them confused. All those B's and A's and N's, well, they just kind of ran together to me. Yeah. Now, I suppose they were both good guys in their own right. And let's not forget about the dwarfs. Oh yes, the dwarfs. Or as they were called in the book, prowess. Now, these were not your happy-go-lucky dwarfs who sat around smoking pipes and singing folk songs. Oh goodness, no. These were tough little badasses that could take on 2 or 3 normal men in a fair fight and kick their butt. Yes, there were no happy, bashful, or dopey here. They were all pretty grumpy. Yeah, killer dwarfs, dude. Cool, killer dwarfs. This book trudged on longer than a cross-country road trip with 4 kids and your mother-in-law. Now, for my money, our author could have gotten the story across in a few hundred pages less. Yeah, like maybe that many. Of course, if I go back and read the first 3 books, I might have a clue what's going on a bit more in this one. Okay, that's got to be, I don't know, 1,500 pages of pre-reading? And then I'd have to read this one over. Oh, screw it! I'll just be pissed off and lost. Yeah, like that's never happened before. Yeah, that's nothing new. Okay, so that was The Bear. As you might have noticed, I really wasn't that much into The Bear. Now, when I first started reading this book, I thought it was going to be some killer sword story. A story where I can take my massive sword here and think about plundering and pillaging and all that fun stuff. But once I got into the book, I noticed, well, it wasn't worthy of my sword. I'm not even sure it was worthy of my fantasy sword, dagger, whatever this is. And as I got even more into it, I'm not sure it was even worth my letter opener. By the time I finished, well, maybe a plastic knife might be a little more appropriate for my mood. Oh, I'm so brutal. I need to go chill out and read a book. Yeah.